Welcome to the world of macOS Sequoia on unsupported Macs. Welcome to Jesse's Flying, and today Apple released macOS 15 Sequoia, and if you want to install that latest macOS on an unsupported Mac, you obviously need the OpenCore Legacy Patcher in its latest version 2.0.1, which was also released today. And so in this video, I'd like to give you a broad overview of all the Mac models from 2011 to 2017, which Mac models I don't recommend to update, which can be updated and have maybe minor issues or don't have any issues at all that I found yet. And there might be some issues you might encounter, and I give you some tips and tricks and advice how to prepare the update so it should work very smooth with your unsupported Mac. By the way, I'm doing the update on my Mac Pro 2012 cheese grater in this video, so let's get to work. So at first, let's talk about the different Mac models and their issues or their problems or their requirements to update to macOS Sequoia. Good news, during install, I encounter hardly any problems or issues with updating. So all Macs, starting with the iMac 2017, MacBook Pro 2016, MacBook Pro 2015, MacBook Air 2013, and MacBook Pro 2012, all Macs run macOS Sequoia nearly flawlessly. The only issues I had was with the MacBook Air 2013. Why? In my opinion, that's because it only has 4 GB of RAM. And if you have seen my other video from last week about macOS Sequoia Beta and OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.0.0, I already recommended not to install Sequoia on Macs with only 4 GB of RAM. That is, in my opinion, too less memory, because the MacBook Air here is very slow, very sluggish, and it's not fun to use with macOS Sequoia. So first recommendation, have at least 6 to 8 GB of memory when you install macOS Sequoia. And the issues I had with the MacBook Air was after the update, nearly all of them greet you with a white screen as there's no graphic acceleration, because after every update, the root patches are gone and you need to reapply them to have graphic acceleration. But with the MacBook Air, I didn't even had a dock. So the menu bar in the bottom didn't even appear, and I only had the menu bar at the top. That happened after the second reboot as well. And so I had to install or open OpenCore Legacy Patcher and install the root patches, and then with the graphic acceleration the dock appeared. So another hint that might be too less memory for macOS Sequoia. And while we're talking about all the different Mac models, there are some specific requirements that they need depending on the model. At first, if you've seen already some of my videos, the OpenCore Legacy Patcher needs KDKs, kernel debug kits, to install some of the graphic drivers, mostly AMD. And so, for instance, the MacBook Pro 2016 here, which has an AMD Radeon Pro 460 dedicated graphic card, and another Mac was the Mac Pro 2013, which has an AMD Fire Pro graphic card, or actually has 2 of them. They need the KDK, the kernel debug kit, installed, because when you do the update, all of them are also missing the Wi-Fi drivers, so there's no internet connection, and the OpenCore Legacy Patcher, when you try to do the root patch, cannot download the KDK. But there's an improvement, so no worries. When you don't have the KDK installed, the OpenCore Legacy Patcher will still do the root patching, but without the graphic drivers. So you get the root patches for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the T1 chip, for instance, in that MacBook Pro, and so on. Then you can do the reboot. You will still see a white screen because there's still no graphic acceleration, but you have Wi-Fi, you have internet connection and everything else. So then just do the root patching again, and the OpenCore Legacy Patcher will then download the KDK, install the graphic drivers, and after the next reboot you will have the graphic acceleration. So no worries. Better way is to download the KDKs up front, and by the way, all the links are down in the video description. To download them up front, install them up front, so the OpenCore Legacy Patcher has them available to root patch after the update. But if not, it's not a big problem. Just do the root patching twice. Same goes with the metal libraries. So that might be a new wording, because since the OpenCore Legacy Patcher version 2, which was released just a few days ago, the developers just had another resource they use, and that is, for most of the cases, for the very old Macs, like the MacBook Air 2013, the MacBook Pro 2012, to be able to patch them, because they do have an integrated graphics card that is not metal capable, like an Intel HD 5000, Intel HD 4000. And so the OpenCore Legacy Patcher needs the metal library to be downloaded and installed to be able to patch, for instance, Intel Ivy Bridge or Intel Haswell processors, like the very old ones, 2012 and 13. So I recommend to download the metal library up front as well and to install it. And be careful, you need the version that is matching your macOS version you are installing. So obviously this is macOS 15.0 Sequoia, so you need the appropriate metal library that you can download on Dortania's GitHub repository. Just one hint about the KDKs I was talking about. The KDK, Apple didn't release any matching KDK for macOS 15 Sequoia as of now, as I'm recording that video. So you need to use the latest macOS Sequoia Beta KDK. Check the website if you're downloading KDK and there's already one that is matching your macOS Sequoia version. Obviously you take the newer one. If you install all that up front, the OpenCore Legacy Patcher should have no problem with root patching after the update. Exemplary, let's do the update to macOS Sequoia on the Mac Pro 2012 here, which is still running the latest macOS Sonoma. When you boot up and you already run OpenCore Legacy Patcher with an unsupported macOS, you will be greeted by the update window of OpenCore Legacy Patcher that there is a new version for downloading. That's exactly here. The new version 2.0.1 is ready for download, and we just click download and install. So basically you always want to have the latest version of the OpenCore Legacy Patcher installed before doing any updates, and obviously wait maybe for my thumbs up here on my channel if I give you a green light that it is safe to update your unsupported Mac model. So now it's downloading about 650 megabytes, and then let's install the OpenCore Legacy Patcher to the system. While we're doing that, let's download two other resources that I already talked about. The KDK, the kernel debug kit, and the metal libraries. Because we don't know, and I don't know either yet, what this Mac Pro maybe needs for root patching. So it doesn't hurt to have both installed. When we go to the repository of Dortania, the first one is the KDK package. So we're gonna take the last one for macOS Sequoia Beta. So we just click on the kernel debug kit DMG, that's another 760 megabytes, and download that. Obviously, when there is a KDK matching your macOS Sequoia version, then obviously you should download and install that KDK. All right, now it already says update successful. Do you want to update OpenCore? We say yes. And there are 3 steps for OpenCore for updating. The first one is OpenCore Legacy Patcher to be installed on the hard disk. But that wouldn't change anything. Second is to build and install the OpenCore bootloader and to install it onto your boot disk, so the next time you boot you have the latest OpenCore and everything loaded before macOS is loaded. Now we do that. You can see that it just now created the bootloader and it wants to install that onto the hard disk to boot it from. And obviously you select your boot disk and the EFI partition where the OpenCore bootloader sits and what is loaded first before the macOS is loaded. And right now it's quite convenient as the OpenCore Legacy Patcher now asks for the third step, and that is to update the root patches. So the drivers that are in macOS. And you should always do that when you install a new OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Install the OpenCore bootloader and install the appropriate root patches so you have everything on the same versioning number. So right now it asks for the root patch, we say yes, and right now it still has internet connection as Sonoma is running with Wi-Fi and everything, so we don't need any MetalLib, that is not required yet, and no KDK, because if the patcher would need anything it would just download it right now. But we would need that for the Sequoia version after the update when there is no Wi-Fi. So we now says start root patching, and it says okay, the KDK is already installed. The OpenCore Legacy Patcher downloaded the KDK for that macOS Sonoma version when I installed it, and everything is fine. It's just updating all the root patches. While it's doing that, let's go back to the Dortania website and we go to the MetalLib support package, the Metal library. And there already is an appropriate version for macOS 15 Sequoia, and that is up here, version 15.0 24A335. Okay, how can you know what the versioning number is you need? Okay, it's quite easy. When you go into the OpenCore Legacy Patcher and you say download installer, then there is the list with Ventura and Sonoma and Sequoia, and after the version 15.0 in this case there is the number, the 24A335 in brackets. Right now, just believe me, 15.0, the first one that is released, is 24A335, and we just download the package file that's around 75 megabytes, also from the GitHub repository. Okay, the OpenCore Legacy Patcher is ready with root patching, and now it asks to reboot. Make sure your downloads are finished before you do that. Let me check it. Yeah, both are there, and we say reboot. Okay, back again. macOS Sonoma has booted, and now we install the Metal library and the KDK for macOS Sequoia onto the hard disk so that the OpenCore Legacy Patcher has them ready when it tries to do the root patching after the update. So we go to the downloads folder. Let's start with the Metal library support package. That's only 75 megabytes. We just say install, enter the password, and it will extract all needed files. Then we do the installation of the kernel debug kit. When it will double click, you have the package file in here. Let's start it, continue, yes, continue, agree, and we say install, enter the password, and that takes about a minute as it is about 750 megabytes. Okay, this is done also. We can say close, keep the files maybe if you need to, and then we can eject the kernel debug kit image, and then we can close everything. And as you can see here in the system settings, there's already that little red 1 notification. So if you click that, it says software update available, and if we search for that, it already says macOS Sequoia 15.0. So let's download the installer, start it, and let's update the Mac to Sequoia. So this is the screen the Mac Pro welcomes us with after the update to macOS Sequoia. Obviously no graphic drivers, no graphic acceleration. We do not have any Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth. Remember, for the Mac Pro 2012, you need a wired USB keyboard with a USB 2.0 hub either in between, or you have a keyboard with an integrated hub to be able to control the Mac, because right now when there are no root patches, Bluetooth doesn't work, so no wireless keyboard and mouse, and the USB 1.1 drivers do not work. So the OpenCore Legacy Patcher just asked us if we want to install the root patches, as it detected that we run the Mac Pro without any root patches. So right now it says downloading kernel debug kit. So it tries to download the KDK, no Wi-Fi, no internet connection, but we already installed it up front. And so let's just let it sit there, let it wait, and there we go. It started the root patch. Yes, it has no internet connection, but it says, okay, KDK found, and it's using the KDK we already installed for the graphic drivers. So let's see after the update how it will greet us then. There is the graphic card initialization, as there is a black screen, and now it should continue. There we go, macOS 15 Sequoia on the Mac Pro 2012. And so the only thing we now might do is to check if all the root patches are installed. We already see that the Wi-Fi is connected, so that works. Bluetooth is finding my devices, so this works as well. And as we have the nice background, the graphic acceleration seems to work as well. We go into the OpenCore Legacy Patcher, and when we click on the post-install root patch, it is checking for all the patches, and it now says all applicable patches are already installed. So that was it, the first video of many to come about macOS 15 Sequoia on unsupported Macs. And I hope I could give you some helpful tips and tricks to install macOS Sequoia on your unsupported Mac. If you'd like to share your experience, or if you get any questions, I love to invite you to my Discord server. Link is also down in the video description. There are more than 2,500 members discussing and helping each other. Such a great community. So share your experiences there, or help each other to install Sequoia on their Macs. And as this video already got longer than expected, in my next video I will do some benchmarking of all those unsupported Macs. Do they really get slower with newer Mac OSs? Maybe is there a sweet spot until they work quite fast and then get slower? So I'll give you some benchmarking, some boot times, and maybe answer the question, do they really get slower with newer Mac OSs? And another video is in the making about the iMac 2011 that is running macOS Sequoia, but as I already said in my last video, this is a 2011 iMac with a non-metal graphics card. And now as Sequoia is released, and as the latest OpenCore Legacy Patcher 2.0.1 is released, does it really make sense to install Sequoia on such old Macs? So that is another thing we will dive into. And obviously my Mac Pro cheese grater hardware upgrade guide is still in the making. Sequoia just got into my way, but it will be finished and be released soon. So there's a lot to come in the next days and weeks. So don't forget to subscribe my channel, click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of these upcoming videos. A really great thank you to all the OpenCore and OpenCore Legacy Patcher developers who made all this possible. If you'd like to donate something for the developers, the link to their donation page is also down in the video description. Happy updating to macOS Sequoia. See you soon. Bye bye.